It's the first official Football Friday of the year with JV and varsity this weekend. Happy Friday, Deuce.
I got the itch, man. The schedule is loaded this weekend. If this was week 6 or 7 in college football, this has the argument to be made that it's the best weekend of the year.
I feel the chill in the air. I'm actually sitting in a Minnesota hotel room right now.
Oh, wow. Wow, road game.
So football's really in the air here.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, when you have the Vikes as your team, how could you not be excited? We almost had them as our wagon pick.
Yeah, a lot of debris was thrown at the window of my hotel room when we decided on the Chargers. So our first preview and pick, Football Friday with college and NFL. We'll start with college. Last week, 2-2 official plays. Leans 8-4. Breaking down the top 25, we have a game tonight. Oklahoma State open 27.5. Currently 28.5. They are at South Alabama.
I don't know anything about South Alabama. I know 28.5 on the road is a big number. We both love Oklahoma State for the year, but road game, Friday night, no thanks.
They travel to Pitt next week. Oklahoma State, that is. I don't know if it's a look ahead, but I wouldn't feel comfortable laying the 28.5 tonight.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at.
I do have a slight lean for tonight. That's off the board. Purdue is a 3.5-point favorite hosting Ohio. I like Ohio tonight after Purdue.
So do I. I have it written down.
After Purdue's near upset of Louisville last week, the quarterback's a little banged up. Perfect spot for the Bobcats.
Totally agree. Strong lean as well.
An official or just a strong lean?
I can get on with an official. It's early in the season. I'm ready to roll the dice.
Friday night action, Ohio Bobcats plus 3.5.
I think we've traditionally struggled with Friday night games, so hopefully this turns it around.
To Saturday, the Wolverines were impressive last weekend. They come home to host Cincinnati. They opened 33. They're up to 34.5.
Cincinnati's bad. That program is really taking a nosedive, but I was not high on Michigan, especially with quarterback offensive talent. I'm not sure I'm ready to lay that big of a number with them.
Yeah, Cincinnati, as you referred to, they struggled last week with Austin Peay. But 34.5 is too much with Michigan's offense for me, so it's a no play for me. The Badgers of Wisconsin are home. They host Lane Kiffin and Florida Atlantic. 29.5 was the open. It is up to 31.5.
Another big number. Another team that I liked preseason, Wisconsin. They struggled a little bit week 1. I'm more inclined, because this game is in Wisconsin, to lay that number if you made me. But still, I'm not ready to jump on big numbers.
Yeah, Florida Atlantic struggled last week against the run. Wisconsin, traditionally, great running team. I think they win. I would lean Badgers, but it's not a strong lean.
I would agree.
The aforementioned earlier Louisville Cardinals, they go to North Carolina. They open 5.5. They're up to 10.
You were all over Cal last week in North Carolina. I think this is a similar situation. I think 10 is... Louisville was not impressive, but I think 10 for a team that has by far the best player on the field is light. I would lean Louisville.
I'm on the other side. I lean heels, despite how terrible they are. Louisville has Clemson on deck. It's more of just a spot play for me.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Bama, number 1 team in the country. They host Fresno State. Open 43.5, up to 44.
Yeah, no thanks. Actually, if Fresno State scores once or twice, I think they could cover here, but it's hard to bet on that.
I lean Fresno State. Bama lost 2 linebackers last week. They are 1-6 against the spread in the week 2 games after they've played a big opponent in week 1.
Great stat there.
Penn State Pitt. Penn State opened 16, up to 21.
I will leave all the discussion here for you.
Revenge game, in-state rivalry. Penn State has covered 11 straight games and pretty handily in covering those games. The market is eventually going to catch up. I think this might be the week. I think Penn State wins somewhere between 17 and 20.
Is that because there's going to be a few members of the Harry Saxton crew in attendance that you're hedging?
Unfortunately, I had to back out, so it's just the chef and Davy Trump.
Oh, no.
So, Penn State's is 4-1-1 against the spread on tailgate days that we've been there. My only worry in taking Penn State is Pitt has absolutely nothing to lose this year. I think Narduzzi will be pulling out all kinds of tricks. That is my only worry.
Yeah, it's kind of a middling line for these two teams. I would agree with that.
It's either Penn State or nothing, though, for me.
Yeah.
So I would stay away.
Yep, I can see that, definitely.
TCU travels to Arkansas. Arkansas opened -1. It is now TCU -3. Arkansas won this game last year in overtime at TCU.
Big extreme move here towards TCU. That tells me that TCU is the side to play.
I also lean TCU. I think Gary Patterson will have the troops ready.
They have the quarterback advantage here with Kenny Hill. So blind number move and a better quarterback usually works for me in college.
We go to the 4 big primetime games. We start in Death Valley. Clemson opened 6.5. It is dropped to 5.5, hosting Auburn.
Public on Clemson and the line drops. Always, to me, that's going to get my attention. Normally, I would just blindly put my trust in Auburn. Auburn's a team that I liked preseason. Death Valley is going to be rocking, though. I think there's going to be a little extra juice now that Florida State lost their quarterback. I want to pull the trigger on Auburn, but something's keeping me away from this one.
Also a lean for me on Auburn. ACC was 0-3 last weekend versus the SEC. This is a big game for the SEC. To me, it's going to come down to Auburn's O-line against Clemson's D-line, which may be the best in the country.
Yep.
Auburn does have a running back that's banged up. They do have a 2-headed monster. If both play, it would be a strong lean for me, but just a lean.
All right, we'll wait for that pregame injury reports come out.
To the Horseshoe, Ohio State opens 7 up to 7.5, hosting Oklahoma.
I'm actually very surprised the line is going that way. That scares me off a little bit, but I like Oklahoma. I think they have the better quarterback in this matchup. I think they have the best unit on the field as their offensive line, in my opinion. I lean Sooners.
I also lean Sooners. This line feels high to me, which worries me a little bit. I thought this line would be almost in dead zone of 5.
So did I.
45-24 last year. I think Oklahoma kind of flying under the radar a little bit just because they have Lincoln Riley in his second game as a head coach going against Urban Meyer. I would lean Oklahoma.
So do I. The only thing that's making me away from making this a lock is the actual line and the movement.
Yes.
It's a little smelly. That's my hesitation here, but I'll take the points in a matchup like this.
To South Bend, they opened 6.5, down to 4.5, hosting Georgia.
Another shocking line move for me. I thought the Sharps would bet this up. The only explanation is that there's just a good amount of money on Georgia being bet. Because I like Notre Dame. I think this is a good matchup for them. Fromm getting the start for Georgia. You know, they got some players on offense, but I don't like their defense at any level. I think Notre Dame's going to be able to score here. I don't know if it's just that people think Georgia should be favored here, and that's why the line is dropped, but I like the Irish.
I heard this yesterday. I did not have the chance or time to confirm this. But I read that this is the first trip north of the Mason-Dixon line for Georgia since the 60s.
play above the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked that they didn't play an out-of-conference. He just won.
Really, so it's only been the last few years the pressure to play an out-of-conference game, week 1 or 2 against good teams. Traditionally, they usually play like Nicholls State week 1, and then they get into their conference.
They are expecting 20 to 25,000 Georgia fans in the stadium. And I'm not a Georgia quarterback expert, but from what I've read, many feel Fromm is actually the better quarterback.
100%.
Just the fact that it's a road start at Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame wins this game, but I like Georgia with the points. I think this is a close 27-24 type game.
Yeah, interesting. You're right. A lot of Georgia people think Fromm is better than Easton. I don't even think there's a huge Easton population in Georgia. Just a road start. I think the Irish are pretty good. Yeah, I guess it's more of a stay away for me, but just because of the line, I don't know. I think Irish win the game, though.
I want to see Wimbush do it against a better defense than Temple. I actually think Temple's going to be really down this year. They lost a ton from last year.
Yeah.
So it's similar to the Barrett situation. If they could keep Wimbush in the pocket and make them make throws, Georgia really increases their chances of winning.
Definitely.
The big one for me, in the Coliseum, USC open -4, up to 6, hosting the Tree.
Another line movement play for me, and this one's for you, Jake. I like the Trojans here. I like them by 10+. I think they kind of got their heads out of their asses a little bit against Western Michigan. But this is more of just a straight line in-game situation play. I think that place is going to be rocking. I think Stanford is going to struggle to move the ball on offense. And I think eventually USC is going to get some big plays on offense themselves. I think Darnold has a big game here, bounces back. I like the Trojans here.
I wish the Trojans would have been more convincing last weekend. David Shaw, 41 covers in his last 61 conference games. Stanford played in Australia 2 weeks ago, have been off since. The big stat to me from last week, Western Michigan averaged 5.5 yards a carry. Stanford's going to come in and smash.
Sure.
Stanford
knows that.
Stanford covers the number, doesn't win the game. Stanford gets their revenge in December in the Pac-12 championship. USC 27-23.
Wow. If you want a final score, I'll go USC 31, Stanford 21.
And then the last game of the night, for those who will stay up to the wee hours, Washington State opened 8.5 up to 10.5, hosting Boise State.
Just because I love the guy, I think I lean Washington State, but that hook is a bothersome hook for me.
First time Boise's been a dog since 2014. QB controversy for them. I think Leach puts up 60 points.
Yeah, Boise State is definitely down this year. Just seeing Washington State giving 10.5 is just weird, though.
Two other off the board leans I have. The Carrier Dome.
Yes.
Orange -10, hosting Middle Tennessee State. I like the Orange.
Love the Orange. Vandy handled Tennessee State with a low number last week. Love the Orange and where they're going. This is just a Utica play.
Cuse official -10.
I have them at 9.5, but we can go up to, I'm good going up to 25.
And then the other one I have, just purely a spot play. Missouri hosting South Carolina. It opened 4, down to 2.5. South Carolina off that huge win over NC State last week.
Interesting.
Just a lean. I think it's just a lean, though.
I have a couple other leans as well off the board. Northwestern struggled week 1, going to Duke. I've been a Duke backer the last few years, but I don't think they're as good this year. I think Northwestern is pretty good. I like Northwestern giving them a small number of 3.
That's an official. I like Northwestern as well, -3.
Yeah, there we go. last week and they lost it on the hook for me. I just like their defense. I like Boston College versus Wake. They're given 1.5. They are on Wake is 1-7 opening road games, and they stink as a football team, so that's a good combo for Boston College. Lastly, I was on Memphis last week. I'm against them this week. I like UCF giving a small number with the home crowd if they even play that game.
I think they moved it to tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, then I like UCF -2.5 versus Memphis. Just as a lean, not as an official pick, because that crowd is probably going to be pretty light.
That's a good point.
But if it was a regular situation, I just like them in that situation.
So off the board plays this week, the Bobcats tonight +3.5. Our Syracuse Orange -10, and the Wildcats of Northwestern -3.
I love that. In one of the biggest college football weekends of the year, all these ranked matchups, we're just flying around off the board picks.
To the varsity. We'll start with the shittiest game of the weekend. Bills open 6.5, hosting the Jets. They're up to 9.
That seems like a lot to me, but I don't have the balls to pick the Jets here.
I don't either. The Bills should not be favored by 9 over anybody.
No.
Falcons on the road, opened -6, up to -7, traveling to Chicago.
I like the Chicago Bears. Give me the touchdown. I think Atlanta wins a close game here. I think the Bears defense is a little better than advertised. I think Jordan Howard's going to have a big game.
Super Bowl hangover loser. On road game first. The first road game following year. 2-15 against the spread. Matt Ryan in road openers. 3-6 straight up and 3-6 against the spread. They have new coordinators. Tons of money on the Falcons. John Fox has had a lot of time to game plan for this. I think the Bears may win this outright.
It's just sticking at us like a sore thumb. Your stats this year are on fire right now. You're just a stat machine.
Bears +7 isn't official.
Correct.
Your Cincinnati Bengals, they open -1, hosting division opponent Ravens up to -3.
Toss-up game traditionally. These teams play each other very tough. I usually side with the home team in this matchup, so I would lean Cincinnati. Not an official play, though, for me, just a lean, just because it's, rivals in a division.
I've tried to figure out a way the Ravens could win this game, and I just don't see it. So it's also a lean for me on the Bengals. Staying in that division for another divisional game, the Steelers travel to the Dog Pound. They open 9.5. They're down to 9.
Weird little wiggle with that line. I'm trying to figure out how to take Cleveland. I wish they were starting a little bit more of an experienced quarterback, and I would pull that trigger.
I agree.
But I can't do it with a rookie quarterback.
I agree. We love betting on shitty teams.
We live to bet on the Cleveland Browns.
So just the Browns lean?
Yeah, I can't. First start, defense is at full strength for Pittsburgh. Just can't do it.
The Detroit Lions opened -2.5 when the lines came out. They are now a 2-point dog at home, hosting the Arizona Cardinals.
My absolute favorite play on the board. Love the Cardinals here. They're just a far superior team talent-wise on both sides of the ball. I think they score on defense here. I think Carson Palmer has a big game. I think David Johnson scores 17 touchdowns in this one game alone. Love Arizona.
The Lions have absolutely no run game. Stafford isn't great versus good teams. And I like to bet Carson Palmer early in the year when he's healthy. Cardinals are an official -2.
Love.
To Houston, open 4.5, up to 5.5, hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Sticking with our mantra, even though I like Houston for the season, I'm trying to figure out a way to bet the Jags here. It's a middling line. I wish we could get this to 6.5-ish maybe, but talk me into this one.
I got a couple stats, maybe. In their last 15 against the AFC South, the Jags are 10-4-1 against the spread. They're 4-1-1 in their last 6 against the spread on the road. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I'll take the 5.5.
I'll do it too. Then I think this is a defensive battle. Both really good defenses. Both unknowns at quarterback. So
also,
shitty points.
DeAndre Hopkins has been banged up. I don't know if he's practiced all week.
Good point.
Hand injury.
Playmaker on the outside.
Will Fuller's out. So wide receivers are in shambles right now in Houston.
Let's do it.
Official or just a strong lean?
Let's just throw it in there. It's week 1. Official.
Jags plus 5.5. How many more times are we going to be able to bet on Blake Bortles?
That's a great question. We got to do it once.
The Raiders opened -1 on the road. They are now a 2.5-point underdog in Tennessee.
One of my other favorite plays on the board, I like the home team Titans here. I think they are going to put a ton of points on the board. Get ready for the Sunday night narratives. Is Tennessee a Super Bowl contender?
Open the wallet. Tennessee is an official 2.5-point play. 10 a.m. start for the Raiders. Everybody in Vegas loves the Raiders this year. Way inflated number. Everybody all over them after those close wins last year. I think the season plays out differently if they don't go for 2 in New Orleans and get it. They would have been 0-2. Changed their whole season around. I love the Titans in this game.
So do I.
The Bravehearts open 2.5. They're now a 1-point dog at home hosting the Eagles.
My third favorite play of the board this weekend. I love the Eagles in this game. I think the Cards are going to come out sluggish to start the season. I think Philly's D-line dominates this game. I do not think Washington will be able to run the ball. When they don't run the ball, that forces Cousins into making some bad decisions. It's happened both the years he's been a starter. When they can't run it, he struggles. And I think Wentz will be able to move the ball, especially opposite side of the field from Norman.
Any status on Jamison Crowder?
I think he's going to play.
Hearts 5 straight wins versus the Eagles. I've flip-flopped for 3 months now on this game. I'll defer to you. I have no lean. I want to say the Eagles, but I don't know.
It's the Eagles.
Just a lean. The shittiest game of the weekend. The Bills, at least you could look for the Bills Mafia. The Rams opened as a 3.5-point underdog. That was with Andy Luck. Now without him, they're a 3.5-point favorite. They host the Colts. I don't really care what happens. I have no feel, no lean. If I were Tundra, I'd continue wedding planning and not watch the Colts.
I like the Rams here, given the points. I think there's some value here, especially if Aaron Donald plays. I just think the Rams are, if you take the quarterbacks both away, the Rams are a much better team. So that's basically what we're doing here. So I kind of like the Rams.
I guess the Rams are the lean. They probably should be favored by more than 3.5 with Scott Tolzien.
That's my only logic here.
Maybe the best game of the weekend in Lambeau. Packers open 3, remain 3, hosting the Seahawks.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this game. I think they've always traditionally played each other very well. To me here, the difference is Seattle is much better on one side of the ball than Green Bay is, in my opinion. I'm worried about Seattle's offensive line, but Green Bay does not rush the passer well. I think Pepper's loss is pretty big, even though he was getting up there in age. I lean Seattle here, getting the 3. I actually think they win this game outright.
Wow. Up on the other side, Seattle since 2011, 1 game over 500 on the road. Their last 17 on the road against the spread, they're 3-14. I think Aaron Rodgers comes out, and I think this is a shootout, but Packers score more points.
Interesting. We are totally on opposite sides. I think this is a low-scoring game. I think all the talk will be about how good Seattle's defense is after this one.
Interesting. To San Fran, they host the Panthers. Panthers open -4. They're up to 5.5.
for me. They're better on both sides of the ball. I don't see how San Francisco does much against Carolina's defense at full strength game week 1 here. I just worry a little bit about Carolina going to the West Coast. Giving under a touchdown here is a little weird. That's my only hesitation.
Seems too easy, therefore it probably is. I'm going to stay away. I don't think Cam played at all in the preseason, so may take him a quarter to get going. So stay away from me. Another stay away from me Sunday night in Dallas. They open -6, down to 4. All over the place with injury reports with Zeke's status, who is going to play now. I want to say Dallas, but they struggle as a home favorite. So let me hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I actually leaned the other way with the Giants, but the line and the Zeke status are a little too unsure for me. I think I think New York can score against Dallas. The Beckham injury worries me a little bit. I don't know if he'll be at 100%. I think Brandon Marshall can have a big game. To me, though, the lack of running game is what really bothers me about with New York. So if they're going to win, they're going to have to win a shootout. And I'm not sure Dallas is going to let them get to a shootout.
2 Monday night games. The first one in Minnesota, open 3.5, down to 3, hosting the Saints and Peterson's return.
Yeah, interesting game here. I think Minnesota's the better team, especially with that secondary against Drew Brees and Michael Thomas. Key here to me is if the Saints can run the ball, I think they can dictate tempo. The Ingram-Peterson combo could be pretty good, even though both are getting up there in age. I am staying away from this one.
Small lean on the Vikings. I think their defense is going to slow down New England. And with a bunch of time to prepare, I think Bradford will be okay against that Saints horrific defense.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The late game takes us to Denver. They open -4, down to 3.5 against our 2017 Los Angeles Wagon Chargers.
I am surprised about this line. I thought it would be under 3. You know, I guess Simeon has looked okay in practice since being named the starter. To me, though, not enough. I'll take the hook in this situation every time. Division rivals. Denver's defense is really good, but I think San Diego's got some weapons right now. Keenan Allen coming back. I'm a 100% CEO stockholder of Hunter Henry, tight end for the Chargers, for Los Angeles Chargers. I keep saying San Diego. I like the hook here.
Is Demaryius Thomas in or out?
Questionable.
I love the Chargers if he's out. I like them if he's in. Enough to make it an official. The Chargers traditionally have played well in Denver, and they're going to put a ton of pressure on Simeon to make plays.
Yeah, if Denver has to be able to run the ball. C.J. Anderson back from injury. We'll see what he can do, if he can recapture some of that speed he had from a couple of years ago. If they can't run it, Simeon's going to be in trouble. Yeah,
I think this is a low-scoring game, low 20s, and that hook may be big.
Agree. I think 23-20 could go either way, but 3.5 here is a big one. That's a lean for me as well.
We could put that out as an official Monday if we're on it. But for now, our officials are the Bears +7, the Arizona Cardinals -2, the Jaguars +5.5, the Titans -2.5, and possibly the Chargers +3.5.
This might be my favorite card we've ever had, which means we'll go 5.
If we win tonight with the Bobcats, watch out.
Watch out.
Great job by you today. Looking forward to the first full weekend of football.
It's going to be an awesome weekend. Golf clap for the host. Your stats so far this year are just ridiculously good.
It's all the protein from the beers from Shields Beverage.
Has a plug the sponsor.
Talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.
See ya.